Can I ask you a hard question?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to ask you a hard one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in engineering, there's a concept called first principles. And I think in art, the same principle would be like burn the things you love. And when was the last time you burned something you loved, and did you regret it?
There's a scene.
There's a scene. I mean,
they have the equivalent somewhat in writing. They call it killing babies. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
But you kind of look at a story, and you have to look at the story in its totality. Sometimes a scene might work on its own individually, but in the whole scope of the story, that scene sometimes needs to be pulled out. And there's the power of omission. So there's that. Now, there was a scene that we really loved, and Charlie can talk about that one, that didn't make it into the second episode. That really still hurts us.
I said, we'll put in our own money, we'll pay. Like, it became a budgetary issue. We couldn't, we were budgeted to animate 21 and a half minutes. And the second episode, there was a sequence that I still feel I love the second episode. It's actually a really strong episode.
Probably our favorite.
But there's a sequence for Alexia, the hoplite, that it just kills me that we lost it, but we just couldn't afford it. And then there's some other things that we lost through the course of the season, but that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
You have to look at things at the bigger picture, because sometimes resources are finite. We aren't one of these shows where budget is no option. You know what I mean? We had a budget, and we had to stick to it.
And what I would add to that, though, sometimes you come up with creative solutions.
Yeah.
So one of the creative solutions that came about from a budget with a certain amount, you only have so much money, was one of our favorite sequences, and that's a Seraphim sequence, and we don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But that's in episode 7, and so you just make the best.
We couldn't do
with
what we
you
wanted to do, but the editor and Sean came up with something that
Great
was
solution.
awesome, and it's now one of our favorite moments in the show.
Wow.
And it was something that was never written but basically they were able to get into the character's mind's eye, and through using kind of montage and all of the stuff we'd seen before, it captured the moment better than what we had hoped to do. So it's always, this isn't the theater where you write the script and not even punctuation is changed. It evolves, and you just keep trying to plus it and keep trying to make it.
And it's
better.
always about character. You can have great action sequences, but if you don't care about the characters, if you inherently aren't rooting for them, and you aren't invoking emotion, then you might as well just pack up your bags.
That's what I always say. Like, if I read a book and I don't feel anything at the end, not sad that it was over, then it wasn't a good book.
Absolutely.
That's how.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, this is the story itself. I mean, it takes I want to say it takes some liberties with, and well, you know what? Somebody asked a question. Let me make sure you. Did you approach Netflix with a project, or the other way around? And this is coming from Dimitris.
We knew John Derderian, the executive who was in charge of this division, and he asked us if we had any ideas that were public domain IP ideas. And he had asked us if we had anything, and we had been working on this idea for a while, for years, and we just always were and this was the perfect venue to tell it. And the one thing I'll say is that, in this business, it's lots of ups and downs. And right before we had that meeting, we were up for what is called an OWA, an open writing assignment at MGM. And we pitched the executive, and he loved it. And there was a very big movie star attached, but the executive wanted to hire us. And he said, you just have to pitch the movie star's, production executives. Just get their sign off. And we thought, we're perfect for this. We had a great take. And long story short, we pitched it was The Rock, his, production executive. And he liked it, but they ended up hiring someone that they were friends with, a writer that they had worked with before. And I remember coming home and telling my wife, oh, this is ridiculous. Like, the exec wanted to hire us. We were perfect for it. We had a great take. There's no way they would have found anyone better for this job than us. But in a way, it was a blessing we didn't get that job, because a few weeks later, John called and said, hey, do you want to catch up? We're looking for ideas. And if we had booked that job, we would have been knee deep in that. I'm not sure we would have even pursued this. So sometimes in life, you just never know what is best for you.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to have you have to have faith, and
Yeah.
And we're just weak
It
and
kind of
pathetic.
comes all the way around.
And
Yeah, full
and
circle.
a mother who may not be the best cook, but a great prayer. She can pray, and
She
that's
is
what you
good
need.
at
You need the
that.
prayers.
It's all
The
God's
food,
word.
yeah, you can get food anywhere.
Honestly, our mother's prayers, I have
Just
no
come here.
doubt.
Just come to Bob's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just never know. But thankfully, John asked if we'd meet up. We always love going to Netflix. Their office on Sunset. They have free food. It's amazing. That place is amazing. It is like a beehive of activity. It's the place. Literally, like that week, we had a meeting there, and we had a meeting at a kind of quote unquote traditional legacy studio. And at the legacy studio, you see like tumbleweeds rolling by, like it was dead. Then you go to Netflix, and like even in the lobby, you see like movie stars. And it's like, oh my, they're just growing. It's such a great place to work, and
they let you do your thing too. So that was nothing that we're very appreciative. They weren't micromanaging us.
Yeah.
They really just said, okay, we believe in the story. We believe in what you guys are saying. They gave us great notes.
Yeah.
Gave us some great guidance there, and just let us do our thing. And that was very rewarding to have that.
And we have to give credit to John again for the finale, because initially when we sold it, we had written the first episode and a Bible that explained what happened in the 8 episodes. But he goes, no. I want the last episode to build to
culminate to a
huge, kind of climactic battle.
Yeah.
And it's so much better where we ended up ending than where we had originally kind of pitched.
We met Sylvester Stallone.
My mom would be so jealous.
Oh, he was great. He
Oh
was
my
really
God.
he was a character, and he had said, he was like, "Oh, writing, that's hard." And but what he had said that resonated with us, he said that in Rocky, everything culminates to that moment at the end where he's finally yelling out, Adrian, na, 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 and you hear the music, and we're like, oh yeah, it really does. And he goes, the rest of my career, I've been trying to do that, and I haven't been able to do that since. And so what we're proud of with the show is that it culminates, as Charlie said, there's this big battle, but within the context of that battle, there's the personal journey of our protagonist. And but also wanted to thank you. You did a great job. I wanted to say, today with all the songs, they have kind of great job. Not pivot here.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Fantastic work, very talented, and we're just very happy to be sharing today with you.
Where
I
can
mean,
we find
imagine
your
I
music?
can.
Where
I
can
already
we
gave
find
him the
music?
spiel. It's just online. Nigel or
Okay.
Kate Flats on social media.
Okay. Amazing.
This is about this though.
But I mean, how can we not address it?
So, let's ask you the hard question.
Oh yeah.
Let's ask you
How'd I
the,
read my
What's the
script?
hard-
No, let's ask you the hard question. So, when was the last time you burned something you loved, and
Oh
did you
God.
regret it?
Daily. I write so many songs that I think are just brilliant until the morning.
And then you're like, oh wait.
What the hell? This is so subtle. This is so freaking smart. And then you listen to it and just like, okay.
We have
This is pretty middle school.
JB.
But yeah, I'm sure, this is the one. And then like, well,
It
Could've
wasn't.
I
Yeah.
can't speak for Charlie, but I've had this where you write it and then you read it in the morning, like, oh, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
This was so good, and then not so much.
yeah, I found like I really work hard to be clever, and that does not work. And then
Yeah.
it's just like, just being honest, being real, and it's like,
That's
oh,
right.
and then it was sneaky. Then
Don't
it was
think
good.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, you're brave too in pursuing what you're being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're pursuing that. And I give you a lot of credit, and artists in general, and actors, and writers, and directors, and whoever. So kudos.
Appreciate that.
Well, let's wrap it up so we can have Paidaika.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's really the next step to all this. So you guys got time for Paidaika? And yeah. So any last words?
Please watch the show. It comes
Yeah.
out, October 27th. And it's so important, as Charlie mentioned, to try to watch it, early on. The earlier the better.
And tell your friends.
Absolutely.
You
So
listen to that? You hear that?
And go to Zeus.
Yeah.
yes, go to
yes.
Zethos.
Please.
But hey, everybody that's out there, we were streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. So hey, we thank you all for coming, joining us, being here with Charlie and Vlas, and we have Nigel and my lovely co-host Aurora. I'm sorry, Charlie, I'm blocking
No.
you. Get over there a little bit. And and we'll see you guys, and of course Katarina
Woo!
and Nick. Thank you for dancing.
Bravo.
Papa Yanni was our engineer. Thank you.
We want to thank our host, Bob.
Yes,
There we go.
yes.
Thank you, Bob.
And to everybody out there watching, Kalosas Vrikame! Yes, us.
Yes, us.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Best idea wins. But I also wanted to thank you. You did a great job. I wanted to say, today with all the songs, I know this was kind of
Great job, Nigel.
pivot here.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
you know what?
Thank you very
for
much. I appreciate that.
Fantastic work, very talented, and we're just very happy to be sharing today with you.
Where can we play your music? Where
I
can we
already
play
gave
your
him the
music?
spiel, just online. Nigel
Okay.
or Cake Flaps on social media.
Okay. Amazing. Like,
This is about this though.
but I mean, how can we not address it?
So, well, let's ask you the hard question
Oh
then.
yeah.
Let's ask you
How do I
the.
write my
What's the
script?
hard-
No, let's ask you the hard question. So, when was the last time you burned something you loved, and
Oh,
did you
God.
regret it?
Taylor, I write so many songs that I think are just brilliant until the morning.
And then you're like, oh wait.
What the hell? This is so subtle. This is so freaking smart. And then you listen to it and just like, okay.
We have
This is pretty middle school.
JB.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure, this is the one. And then like, yeah, well.
I
Could've
wasn't.
I
Yeah.
can't speak for Charlie, but I've had those where you write it and then you read it in the morning like, oh, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
This was so good, and then not so much.
Yeah, I found like I really work hard to be clever, and that does not work. And then it was
Yeah.
just like, just being honest, being real, and it's like,
That's
oh,
right.
and then it was sneaky. Then
Don't
it was
think
good.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, you're brave too in pursuing what you're being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And you're pursuing that, and I give you a lot of credit, and artists in general, and actors, and writers, and directors, and whoever. So kudos.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, let's wrap it up so we can have Paidakya, because that's really the next step to all this. So, have you guys got time for Paidakya? And yeah. So, any last words?
Please watch the show. Comes
Yes.
out, October 27th, and it's so important, as Charlie mentioned, to try to watch it, early on. The earlier, the better.
And tell your friends.
Absolutely. So.
Listen to that. You hear that?
And